I feel like if we just were more inclined to accept other people's cultures, beliefs, identity, sexuality, gender, it is the beginning of equality. That we don't need. We fight for equality, but if you're more open-minded, you wouldn't need to fight for equality and diversity. It comes because people don't care who you are, what you are. So yeah, that's something that I'm really looking to explore.
Hello and welcome to The World as It Should Be, a podcast in which we ask our guests to tell us what they would change to help create their perfect world.
By listening to what they'd like to change, we'll hear more about who they are, what they do, and what inspires them.
This podcast is brought to you by the team behind Primadonna, a uniquely anarchic and joyous festival of everything creative.
My name is Shona Abianca and I'm a book publicist working with some of the most thought-provoking authors writing today.
I'm Catherine Riley, a writer and director of the festival. We're delighted to be your guides on this podcast adventure. The World as It Should Be from Primadonna. Angelle Joseph is an artist, community worker and broadcaster. As presenter of BBC Suffolk's music introducing show, she is a pioneer of unsigned, undiscovered and under-the-radar music in Suffolk. She has also presented and hosted mixes on BBC Sounds for BBC Introducing, 1Extra and 6 Music.
Alongside this, Angelle works with youth and community groups in her local area and presents the Belongings show on BBC Radio Suffolk, which brings people together from different cultures and communities to share their love of music and talk about their work and ideas.
This Christmas, Angelle was on the airwaves as part of Radio 1's Takeover, collating the best of 2021 introducing sessions from across all local shows. She's a rising star of radio, and we're delighted to say she's also a prima donna. Angelle, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, that was the greatest bio ever. I need to click that.
You can have it.
That.
You can have it.
It was all true. I never seen it laid out like that. It was great.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, tell us about your Boxing Day when you were on Radio 1.
Honestly, it was incredible. It was life-changing. It was so fun. And the feedback is because you don't really think about it when you're doing it. But the feedback was like people enjoyed it. People said I sounded like comfortable. I should have been there. They couldn't believe I hadn't been there already. So it was like a really nice feeling and representing Suffolk as always. And I made sure to get that reflected in the show and the music I picked as well. So yeah, it was definitely up there as one of my favourite things ever.
Yeah,
ever.
Cool. How did it happen? Who contacted you?
So basically, it's a scheme that they started a couple of years ago where anyone can apply. It's basically just a website where you upload a demo and you write about yourself, like that bio that you just read. I kind of wrote loads of stuff and they managed to condense it into that beautiful bio, and then you kind of choose what shows you'd be interested in covering. And then I didn't hear back for ages and I was like, it's the second time I applied. And I was like, I don't think I got it, which is fine. But I I had some other plans for Christmas and I was like, I'm just going to cancel everything just in case I get it. Who knows? I might get it. And then maybe November, I got a call and they were like, we just want to check a few things. And I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay, so cool. And then I had to sit on it for ages because I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. So right. It was pretty cool, just hearing it and meeting all the other, there was 30 of us. So we finally had a Zoom a couple of weeks ago and it was really, really nice to meet everyone and see how excited everyone was to get to experience that because we'd never done, we'd never done it before. So it was really amazing.
How did you get into DJing?
Oh, God. I'm still fairly new, I guess. I used to do youth club stuff when I was younger. I used to do music and radio. We'd do projects that are kind of paid for by Children in Need and lottery and stuff. So I'd always dabbled in creative projects, but I wasn't really specific on focusing on anything. And then more recently, when I moved here, I was working in Sports Direct and I was also in a primary school. And I went to this Feed the Homeless thing over Christmas and some of the kids that I worked with were there and they were with their neighbour who was just this awesome, amazing woman who was like, the kids keep talking about you, come over to our table, I want to know everything about you. So I was like, I just finished my degree, I don't know what to do, I'm a TA and I work Sports Direct and I used to do all this stuff. But it's kind of, maybe I want to be a psychologist or a teacher, I don't really know. She's like, I just got some money to do a radio project for the kids, the ones that you're working with. Why don't you come along? And I was like, work on Saturday at Sports Direct. She was like, come on, just come down. I was like, okay, fine. So I took the day off and went down to the radio station, to IO Radio in Ipswich, and literally the rest is history. We started this radio project with these kids, which is still going, maybe 5-6 years on now. It's incredible kids, like amazing. But also there was a radio station that lacked a show that was what I liked, which was UK rap, grime, hip hop, Afro beats, that kind of black music in the UK. She was like, just do a show. I was like, I've never done it before. I don't know. So I literally had a training session, which was you press play, you press eject, don't have swear words, enjoy. And I kind of just got cracking with that and started the Beats, Rhymes and Grime, a radio show, and started getting in guests and just really started connecting with the local scene. Because I wasn't from here, so I literally had to start from scratch, like begging anybody, do you know anyone that makes music? What is it like in Ipswich? And, you'd never believe that, because now I really do like wear it on my sleeve. And I'm so proud of the Suffolk music scene. And people think of the scene and they're like, speak to Angelle. And it's only 5 years ago, if you said that, it would have been like, I haven't got a clue. That doesn't even exist. So yeah, it's been a journey, but it's happened so quickly. I'm not a teacher or a psychologist. I've managed to make it into a job, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really chuffed.
It's brilliant that you got, like, somebody gave you that opportunity. Like that one kind of intervention is like just a launch pad for all of your...
like literally it changed my whole life. Like the friends I meet, like obviously they do come from creative paths now, because I'm in that. The friends I make, the jobs I get, the places I go to, like going to festivals, these are things that I wouldn't have tapped into here because I'd moved here. I'd go home and go to London and do that, but it was really nice to be able to do it here. And now we work on a show together at BBC Radio Suffolk, so it's all worked out really beautifully.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. What's been your kind of biggest pinch me moment?
I mean, it's definitely the Radio 1 show, but not many people know that I didn't actually get to record it at Radio 1 because of the pandemic. So I recorded it in Suffolk, which was probably why I sounded so comfortable and not nervous. So that the traction of that was a pinch me moment, but I still recorded it here, so it didn't feel, I do an introducing show, it didn't feel too dissimilar to what I usually do. I'd say when Ed Sheeran reached out and asked for a support act for his Divide tour when he was coming back home to Ipswich, that was like something that was just never on my radar.
Mad.
You want acts from us? Oh my gosh, that was pretty cool. Like, again, knowing that, trusting in us and the brand, just was like, I didn't realize the scope of how big it was, and then how big it was for the artists. I ended up and because I was then going there again, just like saying yes to stuff, because I was going there, my staff and my team at BBC Suffolk were like, oh, brilliant, because you're going to be there, because we can't get loads of tickets. Can you do a Facebook Live reporting from the whole gig? And I was like, no, I don't do visual. It's just the radio bit. Like, I just interview people backstage. They're like, no, you'll be really good. Just go for it. And literally just mic'd me up and went, right, we're going.
Oh, God.
And I had to do a 20-minute. No, I don't know. I had to do a 20-minute tour through the whole park, around the stage, backstage, on stage. Didn't quite get to Ed Sheeran, but that was just like, I then got on stage and like looked across, and there, it was 45,000 people, and I was like, this is crazy. Like I can't even. I kind of went like home and told my family. They were like, "Oh, it's pretty cool." It's like, you don't even get the scope of this. This is. I was doing community radio to probably 5 people that cared. This is crazy. So yeah, that was definitely a huge moment.
That's amazing. That's a big step up from Sports Direct.
Yeah. Why did you take that day off?
Imagine I was like, oh, I can't get the day off my 0-hour contract. Honestly, yeah, changed my life.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, let's move on to your 3 things for creating the world as it should be. Do you want to talk us through your first change?
Yeah, so for the first one, I said everyone can have a comfortable home. We do a show called Belongings, myself and Cad, who I mentioned earlier. So when we have conversations with migrant communities of refugees and young people that live here and are like looking for the next thing to do, that word belonging kind of always comes up, and we make a joke of it. We're like, take a shot every time you hear someone say it, because it just happens to be the name of the show, and it just always is the underlying theme that people bring to the show without even connecting that the show is called belongings. So I feel like, that it always links to home and place, and I'm a massive like advocate for that, because I live here and I'm a guest here in Suffolk, and God, they treated me so well, as you mentioned earlier, like being able to break through in an industry that I wasn't even, I would just come to do my psychology and criminology degree. I had no idea that I could even do this bit, and not have to move to London, actually coming the other way and being able to do the stuff I've done is really about home. And when you feel, I remember I messaged my landlord the other day and I was like, honestly, like being able to give me a safe space where I can think like safely, and I can cook and I can nurture like myself and embody what I want every day around me, it's because I have a safe place to live. I've lived in some terrible places and, cold places. And when you have that, it kind of changes everything around you. So I feel like, if we can give everyone access to a safe space, what we think is comfortable might not be the same thing as someone else who's lived rough or slept sofa surfed or whatever. They just want that sofa, whatever it is. Because I didn't want to say like a home for everybody, because not everybody might want that. Might be a traveller of this world, but to have a comfortable space where they can call home and they feel like they belong and they can be safe. So that's one of the things that I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Tell us about where you live then.
So at the moment I'm in Ipswich in Suffolk, which is sunny today, but usually, very cold, very windy. But yeah, I'm originally from Slough and I moved here 10 years ago. I was actually going to have a 10-year party and I got COVID, so I didn't get to do it.
Oh no!
Well, we are coming to that party, Angelle.
You're going to come. It's going to get moved to summer when no one can get COVID in summer, because we've all had it by then, hopefully. Or not.
Yeah, there can't be many people left. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I've been here for 10 years, and I remember when I finished uni, I was like, I don't really know what to do. I went back home. I went away for a little bit, and I kind of just applied for loads of jobs in Slough and in Ipswich, literally because I lived here for uni, not because I loved it or anything. I just thought, well, I've just been there for 3 years, and I'm still here, so I obviously still like it.
Did it feel like home when you moved here?
Not at all. I cried the first night. I called my mum. I was like, I hate it here. It's horrible. I want to come home. I'll to go to Brunel. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to live away from home. Not because I liked home, because Slough is, I don't necessarily like have a lot of like crazy positive memories and be like, I miss Slough. I miss my home, miss my family. I live in Ipswich on my own. But I've built my own Ipswich family, which to me they're exactly the same level as the people that I'm related to by blood. So, it's cool. Like, I love the people here. I love the energy, and I love the little pockets of stuff going on, which not a lot of people know about. And that's why I like it so much. And that's why I make it my job to tell people and interview all these random people, so everyone can know that this stuff goes on. Because you speak to someone from here and they're like, oh, I'm going to move to London. And you're like, no, don't go yet. Just do all this stuff first on a mini Suffolk bucket list, and then go if you really want to.
Well, what did your mum say when she heard you were so unhappy? That must have been really hard for her.
Just get your uni done. She wasn't too interested in it.
She wasn't like, come home. She's like, just stay there, do your work.
Just get it done. Something. But it was sad. I struggled with the diversity at the beginning, like a lot, because Slough is like super multicultural. That we grew up with loads of different people, different cultures, different religions, ethnicities, and then I kind of came here and it was like completely different. But it's not. But the kind of perception you get when you move here, you live on the waterfront, you're with loads of students, they're all from London. It was really hard to belong. It took me a long time, but once I found those people that were like me, that were from the same backgrounds as me, it was like we had so much fun, which is kind of, it was in me a little bit when I moved back, without realising that all those people have gone home as well. They're back in London, so it was a weird, when I came back, it was like a weird limbo of like, I don't know anyone actually. This is, why did I do this?
What advice do you give to people? I mean, there are different people that you connect with who also have that sense of either not belonging or, fitting in and trying to fit in, or learning how to adapt to living somewhere else. Do you give tips on how to do it?
It's difficult because, you know, I obviously got massively lucky meeting Cad at that event, but then that was also me putting myself out there. I did a lot to try and make friends. I literally went to adult gymnastics because I was like, I want to get fit and I don't want to go to the gym, so I'm just going to get the bus like right out of town and go to this gymnastics center. I don't do gym, like I would just use it for the trampoline and just look at the other like wow, oh, it's time to go home.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
It's not my thing.
I'm really intrigued by this.
It was just a random moment.
You have to wear a leotard.
No, I just wore like leggings and a
That
top.
is immediately where my mind went as well. Just a room full of adults in leotards doing forward rolls.
Angelle saying, yeah, I go to gymnastics, and actually she's standing watching people on the trampoline.
But the thing is, there was a lot of like guys there that were doing parkour. So actually, like, again, my perception of what it was going to be was very different, because it was like these guys, like these teenagers practicing parkour, and then I'd chat with them, and then we go every Saturday, you know, and jump around buildings. I was like, that's so cool. Again, didn't know people did that here. So it was a lot. I was putting in a lot of work to make friends, and I started to play football again because I played it as a kid, and I played for Ipswich Athletic. I played for Coppleston Ladies for a little bit. Like, I was just literally anything to make friends, and then started to do volunteering, which led me to doing this feeding the homeless for Christmas. And that's where I met Cad. So I really believe that energy I was kind of putting out there was opening more doors and just bringing something back that he kind of, if I just stayed indoors, I would have never, would I? I don't know. Who knows? But I would just constantly put myself out there. And not only did I find someone who was like me, because I was looking for friends, I found, like, she's my soul sister. Like, honestly, I couldn't have found someone who's more like intertwined in exactly like what I like, what I do, just the same. We just have the same brain. We finish each other's sentences. We're a nightmare to be around if anyone else is with us too, because we're just like blah, 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 bouncing off each other. But it's exactly what I needed. And, you know, my sisters are in Slough, so to have another like adopted Ipswich one, brilliant. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there any item that belongs to you that like you have to have that makes you feel like you're at home? Like, whenever you moved out, like we've all had that kind of period in our lives where we move loads. Mm-hmm. Is there one thing that you have that kind of you set it up in your house and you're like, right, I'm home. This is it. This is where I am settling for a bit.
I think not in my house, because I feel like when I moved, I wanted to make. I never really invited people around my house when I was younger. Like, I just always like, nah, I'll come to your house. And I kind of I'm a bit like that. I'm kind of quite private in my house. So when I moved, I was like, I don't want my house to be like that. I want it to be a little bit more warmer, a little bit more friendly. But then I said that, and then I kind of reflect and go, actually, I don't really invite that many people.
You still haven't invited anyone else.
I don't invite people around, and I recently decorated. I was like, you guys can come around now after like 10 years.
They're scared.
Talking about home and belonging, I don't even invite anyone in.
Angelle, is your house a tip? Is that what's happening?
Tip. No, it's not anymore. It gets like that. But one thing which is really important for me is that sense of Slough. And I worked at a primary school which was near Norwich Road, which is one of the most diverse roads in Suffolk, and diverse areas. It's got Roma community, Kurdish community, Muslim community, Portuguese, loads of Portuguese cafes, Turkish restaurants, Turkish barbers, you name it is there. African food store, hair shops, black hair shops, loads of wedding dress shops. I don't know about that one. But that, I had to be closer to that road, and I've moved twice in the same area. I just have to be near that, because when I step outside, for some people, you know, we get texts in when we do the show and we talk about, you know, the diversity on that street and how amazing it is. People are like, we don't like going there. It's unsafe. We don't feel safe. But for me, the noise, the buzz, the different languages walking past me, that's what makes me feel more safe. And that gives me that's Slough. That's me bringing a bit of Slough with me. And if I go outside, I'm not in the countryside. I'm still, I can go to the beach 20 minutes that way, but I can also just tap in here and get some Nigerian spices to make some food. Like it's there. It's massively important for me.
It's cool. Somebody was giving me the hard push, the hip switch. That's what she was saying. She was like, you should come up here. You should move here.
I reckon that's Helen Oldfield.
It was Helen Oldfield. Absolutely. That is exactly who it was. She's trying to rebrand.
That is incredible.
PR, right? Yeah,
good that's guess. Brilliant.
Good guess. Oh my God. Brilliant. Okay, let's move on to your second change. Do you want to talk us through that one?
Yeah, so my change would be to have more open space, coming from a really built up area and then now living in a space where there's like countryside. There's like countryside. It's so crazy. There's so much grass and like clear sky and you can see the stars and we have the beach and we have just beautiful meadows. And I can't believe growing up, we don't go to like on school trips to the beach more and to forests more. It wasn't a thing that I even thought I cared about, but it's actually changed my life and it's been a massive part of me staying in Suffolk and trying to get my family to visit more often because they don't go to the beach. They don't go on trips to the beach or to the woods or, go to the park and stuff, but for the equipment, not for the walks, for the air and the grass and things. So I just believe like in access to that, people living in, especially in the pandemic when you saw people like go in the garden and go and breathe and go. Not everybody has a garden. Like people live in flats and they have communal gardens or they don't have gardens. It'd be amazing for people to access parks and open spaces and feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah. How do you use open space for your kind of health and well-being? Are you a runner or do you do any Tai Chi?
Come on, I told you about the adult gymnastics. I told you it didn't quite work out for me. It's not a bit of me. It's not a bit of me. I when I feel terrible, I go to the beach. Like I just drive up there and I just walk or I just sit or I take my notepad and I just like visualize swimming because I'm not going to go in. No, I just visualize like why I'm feeling a certain way and what this sound can do to help me.
During lockdown, was that helpful? Because I think water is very good. Isn't it?
We weren't allowed to go out at some point, so no, I was going to the park.
To the beach.
But then when we were allowed, there was like a point where like people were stopping people at the beach, and if you weren't from that area, they were sending you home. It was quite intense. But yeah, as soon as it was like sunny and we were allowed to. I think it was like quite late into the summer, but yeah, going to the beach and just chilling there and going with friends and stuff. And I recently started like swimming a little bit at the gym. I did sign up at the end of summer. I was like, You're
not standing at the edge of the pool watching people and then going
I'm not just stalking people now. I'm really trying to, do some running.
We're not checking up on you. You don't have to. Sorry, this sounds. No, honestly, I do use open space. You can do what you want. You're also the beach is like it makes me so jealous. This is the thing that would drive me to hip switch. Is like a bit of beach life. Yeah,
it's incredible. And my closest one is like the one that people don't even like use to like. That's not the one where people are like, if you want to come here, you should go to the beach. Like that's just our close one. We just see it as a park. Like people that live here, but for me, I'm like, I'll just go there. Like that, I'm happy with that. But there are so many other beautiful ones if you just want to travel a little bit further, and it's so nice. But then it's cool because it's still an hour and a couple minutes to Liverpool Street. So I feel like when I go to London and I'm like, God, what a busy weekend, I can come back and the first thing I'm going to do is usually go to the beach, just chill there for a bit.
Do you take your do you listen to new music on the beach or like outside? Do you use open space for that or do you need quiet?
I haven't ever done that actually. But that's something I'm going to do that and I'll let you know how it goes. But I like to podcast, to listen to podcasts and I like to listen to new music, but not like new local music just because of the way you download it. It's just a little bit more faff. But I like have a chill playlist that I have of new music and I'll just walk up and down the beach and I found some new ones as well like recently, which has been fun to like explore. But yeah, it's just for me it's the taking just like aside from where you're from or what language you speak, to be able to come there and enjoy it. I think it's just beautiful. My mum came and visited, which she never does.
I was about to ask you if your family had been.
Oh God, they never. It's a nightmare trying to get them here. They don't ever bloody come. But my mum did come. She came with her friend. It was like a trip for like women and families, and they came on a coach. And her and her like friend came, and me and Cad's got a van, so she brought a van and a kettle and put the sofa in there and really kitted it out. And again, just making it really fun, and it was freezing, but my mum was walking up and down, and she was just in awe of it. And I was like, it's nice, isn't it? It's fresh
really
air.
Cool.
Because just her face, like, because when she called me, I'm going to Frinton, and I was like, oh, it's around the corner, I'll come meet you. She just thought she was just telling me that she was going to like beach, and I'd be jealous because like I might like be wanting to come. And I was like, yeah, it's not far. She couldn't believe that I got there as quick as I did. And yeah, she really enjoyed it, and hopefully she can come back soon.
Cool. What's your favourite place to like get away from it all? You can't say Ipswich. Well, yeah,
you can't say your bedroom either.
But do you have like another destination that's like your dream, getting away from it place?
I mean, if it's going to be another country, it's a bit of Thailand for me. It's a bit of Thailand. I really wanted to go. That was the place I was going to go over the Christmas, because in 2019 I was like, I just had a crazy like experience over the Christmas period, and I was like, you know what, I'm never spending Christmas here again in the UK. It's just not for me. I don't really celebrate Christmas like that, so I'm just gonna not indulge and be part of it. So that was my plan. And then the pandemic hit, and then by 2021 we were like more able to travel, right? So I was like, yeah, like that's what I'm gonna do. And I met someone who lived there, and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect, because I actually want to come. And then I applied for that job, and I was like, I'm not going to book the ticket. I've got this.
Damn, yeah.
I can go next year. So I'm hoping to go at some point again, because I think I'm desperate for it. I haven't really stopped working since the pandemic. I had 2 weeks off a minute ago, but it doesn't feel like it now. So I feel like I'm knackered. That is truly the one place I can turn my phone off properly and enjoy it. It's just so beautiful there. I've been there many times.
Thailand is a good choice.
It's so beautiful, really, right? My big thing is that for my 30th, all my friends are going to come with, because I've been there so many times on my own with one friend, with family. I'm going to have my 30th birthday there, which is coming up. Amazing. So I'm hoping that the next time I go there, everyone gets to come with me, which is
brilliant idea.
So cool.
Yeah. Excellent. That's a change we should all get behind. Okay, should we move on to your third one? Do you want to talk us through that one?
So my third thing for change was a more open-minded world. This kind of stems from the different, like, growing up, the different backgrounds of people that I met. I actually grew up in a Muslim family. My mum converted when I was about 9 years old. So there was like an influx of like new people, new energy, new ideas. I went to a Catholic school, so I was like confused, like Saturday, Sunday would be these kind of people, and we don't go to church anymore, but I took my Holy Communion. It was very confusing. And then just growing up on the council estate where we did, it was just like a bunch of different people. But then I went to a grammar school. Like my mum was really like keen on art education, because when she came to England from Antigua, she was like school, like hopping, and there's loads of gaps in her education, and she was like really keen. If there's anything we do, it's me and my two sisters were to in her eyes get a good education, which meant go to a grammar school, because that was just how she got to that conclusion. So I'd go there, and like I'd walk to school, and people would come past on their buses, and like a genuine excuse for being late was pretty normal in my school, was that your electric gate wouldn't open. It was like a genuine thing, and it just blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe I go to school with people like this. Like, this is crazy. What?
That's hilarious.
I'd be like, oh, I'm late because like couldn't find my shit. Like whatever excuse I use, no one cared. But that was a genuine excuse. And for me, I really feel like meeting so many different people at such a young age and not really knowing what they built in the story of who I am has made like being an interviewer and being interested in all these different people that I interview. I don't just interview them, I really care about them, and I feel like I can cater to the question and the answer that I want because I've had to speak to these different people before in my life. And my family are from Antigua, half of them, they're Nigerian. It's just a massive mix up of people. But within all those people, like all those different personalities, is this closed-mindedness of, well, I'm doing this thing and it's right, so I don't believe in that thing. And then you kind of go to the next person and they don't believe in this. And it gets quite toxic. And I feel like breaking out of that and moving to Ipswich really made me see that, because you meet all these people at uni and you're kind of trying to find your identity, and someone's saying, well, you're Nigerian, your dad's Nigerian, but I don't really know him, so I'm not. And it's constantly explaining and trying to work out who I am, and my identity was a crucial part of who I found was important for me to as an adult to leave behind who I thought I was, because all those people had been around me. And now I'm at this stage where I really think I know who I am. When I go back and speak to those people, they're still in the exact same position of being quite closed-minded, and it's scary because their kind of conclusion at the end of it, well, that's just what I believe. Yeah, but that's from a text that's 100 from, I don't know, 700 years ago or 2,000 years ago. How do we explore how we can be open to everybody without using a reason to not include them in your idea of a perfect person just because someone else has told you to? It actually creates more division. And I feel like if we just were more inclined to accept other people's cultures, beliefs, identity, sexuality, gender, it is the beginning of equality. That we don't need. We fight for equality, but if you're more open-minded, you wouldn't need to fight for equality and diversity. It comes because people don't care who you are, what you are. So yeah, that's something that I'm really looking to explore this year, is how do you help someone build open-mindedness and critical thinking? Like what does that mean for an adult that's so set in their ways that they don't want to change, because that's just what I've believed for however many years.
And what do you feel are some reasons why people are not willing to open their minds or learn or appreciate other cultures? I mean, do you think part of it is fear?
Yes, definitely fear of the unknown, not asking questions. Some people have been conditioned to not ask questions, and when you don't ask questions, you don't have answers. And if you teach that to your offspring, there's just like a generation of people that have never asked questions, so have just continued to what the predecessor has taught them. And so it's not healthy for the world. The world is changing so much. If you can't keep up, someone might be worrying about the metaverse being a thing, and like we don't even know about that. There's like way more other things we need to worry about, but because no one's asked the questions, they're not worried about, I don't know, the food they eat or not getting fresh air or whatever, because they're like, the big thing over here because someone has said the world is going to be like this and we're going to be in a metaverse. That's what there's this thing of they want this thing to happen. Who is they? Who has told you that this person wants them to do something? So it comes from the fear. It comes from, I guess, old school, like religious indoctrinations and not questioning it. I don't have a problem with people being religious and believing in it, but it's not questioning when you're not sure of something, or if something doesn't make sense. If you've never questioned it, if I come and ask, why did you believe that? And you go, I don't know, I just believe. Then you're not creating. There's no dialogue. The conversation has ended there, and just old school like traditions again, just not changing. Just that was how my mum did it. Get a job, go to uni, get a husband, go to buy a house. Done. But what if I don't? Yeah. There's a move there that I want to skip. So that's just how it works for us. Nan, I'm sorry that the houses are not £17,000 anymore. I can't afford it. I'm a failure now. They can do however many Radio 1 shows I want. If I haven't bought a house yet, your cousin has. Okay, they hate their job though, and they're in a 9 to 5. I'm happy, and that should be okay, right? So just imagine that people just were like, cool, go for it. Good luck. I've got your back. Game changer.
So your open-mindedness is like the kind of the key to some of your success, isn't it? Because you're looking at new talent all the time, really, and looking out for new talent all the time. And as you just said, you kind of have to be curious when you're interviewing people, because that's when you get the most interesting kind of stuff out of them.
Definitely, exactly that. And also, like the music, like I started off doing a hip hop and grime show, and it could have been so easy to box a black woman as a hip hop DJ. Could have easily done
Yeah.
that. And by giving me that chance to explore an inbox, which was full of heavy metal, indie rock, blues, anything, punk. God, I love it. And actually, I was in a band like in school because I used to love playing the drums. And this guy was like, "Oh, we need a drummer," and I was like, "Fine." And we do like Jimi Hendrix covers. But if he didn't get me to do the thing in the future, I'm never going to share that story because it wouldn't be part of my journey anymore. And I made a funny TikTok when I did the Radio 1 show, and it was a Cheryl Cole interview where she was like, "People don't know that they think I like R&B, but I actually love indie music." And I made a joke of it because everyone's like, "You should be on One Extra." So why? Because I'm black. Like, I like other music. Like, I do listen to indie music. You know, I saw Sleaford Mods. I think they're brilliant. So, but I don't need to prove that to anyone. The proof is in the pudding. And, you know, that for me is like, yeah, that's the open-mindedness. That's the being in a band because I went to that school and there was all white people and they all listened. They didn't listen to R&B at all. They loved pop, indie, you know, pop rock and different stuff like that. And if I was in the school that all my friend went to, we were all rapping. I'd go home and rap, but at school, I was like, "Nah, it's embarrassing. I'm not going to rap at school. That's well embarrassing." But I'd go to the youth club and we'd go to the studio and we'd rap. So definitely,
That's
like,
cool.
I had no choice but to be open-minded.
Yeah. Do you still play drums?
No, I picked up bass a couple years ago. I got it for Christmas, and I was playing really like heavily in the lockdown one, and then I started DJing. I learned how to DJ over like the summer and lockdown too. So got a couple gigs and I've been DJing now. I just whatever goes. I'm just up for anything, to be honest.
That's good.
You've got to come to one of your gigs. It sounds so good.
Yeah, I need to book more. I'll come DJ at the festival. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Please do.
You're curating a whole stage at the festival, mate. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm up for that. And, you know, again, like doing stuff like seeing opportunities to push people more. I started up because I was interviewing guys a lot because it's a hip hop show, so there's loads of rappers. I was like, I'm not interviewing any women. So that was kind of when I opened up the genres of the show and interviewed some women songwriters. And then also started rapping again so I could play music of a woman that raps from Suffolk. And then I started putting on gigs just for women. So it's called Girls Do Music. And it was just about the youth. I haven't even spoken about the youth work, but I was doing this girls group and they're all so talented. And I asked them, like, how come you're not doing gigs? And they were like, we just don't want boys to be there. I was like, fair enough. Let's make this. So I just started this promotion company of putting on the girls and kind of used it as my first ever gig. I put myself on I believed I was headline slot, but I put myself at the bottom as opener and let the girls perform and then got a headliner and then did a couple of gigs under that promotion company, Girls Do Music. And
that's so cool.
Yeah,
definitely. So the girls didn't want boys there because they felt embarrassed that the boys would take the piss out of them.
Yeah. And I'd run a media youth group. Essentially, they were like a music group band, and it was really popular. But the girls would come and sit and kind of watch the boys record, and we were like, "What can we do to get you to do your own stuff? Because you've clearly got an eye for it and an ear for it and a talent." So we did the girls group, and we said, "Okay, let's do a gig together." And they were like, "Oh, we don't really want to." And then we did it, and it was incredible. And then the girls did their own one just the Christmas before the pandemic, and it was so full in the room. I'd never seen so many young people in one space, and they'd all come to support the girls, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, to be fair, we progressed it. I completely forgot. So much happens in 1 year. We progressed it, and I collaborated with Future Females Society, which I work with and run the girls group through, and we did a FFS Fest, which I run it with the name, and it was a platform in all girls, and it was incredible. Like from the girls that had just written one song and want to perform to local talent that have been killing it, really.
Brilliant. Amazing. That's a brilliant place to end the podcast, actually. Yeah. Do you want what are your plans? What's coming up for you?
I guess at the moment I'm really focused this year on looking after myself because I've been really busy recently and I didn't look after myself last winter and I crashed so bad and was in a terrible place. So this year's about, trying to stay in the gym and focus on, myself, more time with my family and my friends and inviting people over. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, of course. We're coming around your house.
Yeah, after 10 years, cooking and I've painted and I've been trying to like a bit of self-improvement and saving better and things like that. So at the moment, I haven't booked any. I still haven't booked any going out, but I've got one at John Peel Centre, BBC introducing it, because we still haven't had any guests in the studio since March 2020. So I'm really trying to continue supporting the live music scene so we can record them and play them on the show.
Yeah.
Can't do it in the building, so just do it as a gig. So I've got that coming up. I'm trying to organise another
what
one.
date? What date is that at the John Peel Centre?
Yeah, so 29th of January, and it's £5, but 2 for 1. If you use the code, you can find it on the website. You know, encouraging people to support grassroots venues as well as new talent, and it's going to be amazing. I'm trying to organise another one, just got to confirm a few other things, so look out for that. And then, yeah, that's just work. Personally, I'm just chilling at the moment. It'll be good to do some DJ stuff soon, but yeah, at the moment it's all just work. And
we'll see you at Primadonna at the end of July.
Well, festivals, yes, is a big one. I'm excited for Latitude. Hopefully we get to pick artists again. Made a massive leap last year and said, look, we were recording the show from behind one of the stages. It was near all the Portaloos, and I was like, made a massive leap, and I emailed them and went, I just think that it could be somewhere else. It's just, you know, we email these artists and say, great, we're going to record you for radio. We do a live radio show, and they bring all their family. We go, sorry, only the person can come in. And then it should just be...
And they're behind the toilets.
Yeah. So in the end, they put us in we were in the listening post, which is the podcast tent where Radio 4 were. And I managed to do the show live. There was about 7 people watching, but it's the beginning. So I'm hoping that, you know, that grows this year. And I get to take some kids to Latitude for their first ever performance. I took them to Latitude as well. Like, we went really big. So I'm excited to nurture those two and take them on another journey this year, as well as hopefully bring more kids to Latitude to perform.
Brilliant. Good luck with it all. And me and you, Shona, road trip to Ipswich.
Please, literally, please come. I'll invite you round.
Brilliant. We're
I will
banking
go
on
gymnastics.
I'm going to bring my leotard.
Thank you so much, Angelle. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
The World as It Should Be from Primadonna.